Thanks for watching this video. This will be a review of Tyler Perry's Acrimony movie starring Taraji P. Henson. I just finished seeing this movie just about a half hour ago, and I wanted to do a review about it because I thought that it was really good. I would say I give this movie 5 stars. Now, one thing that I will say is that this is not a movie, although the trailer made it look like maybe she was being beaten by her husband all the time or something like that, but this is not a movie where it's a man cheating on his wife all the time or her being beaten or anything like that. Basically, what I got from it is it's a man who wants to achieve his dreams so bad that he'll do anything to get that. So I did get that one point from the movie. So let's just get into what the movie is all about. So it's Taraji P. Henson, and in the movie her name is Melinda, and the guy who ultimately ends up being her husband, his name is Robert. Taraji and Robert, they met in college. Now Taraji is somebody who has always had an anger management problem even before she met Robert, so she was always crazy. The movie starts out with Taraji P. Henson, I guess, already in her divorce, because the movie starts out with her being in court, and the court orders her to go to therapy for anger management. So in therapy, she starts to tell the story of the movie. So basically, Melinda and Robert been dating since college, and they studied together, and he always made her feel safe. When Taraji was in college, she found out her mother died or whatever. Her mother and her wasn't that close. Melinda's mother left her a house that was already paid for, and she also left her $350,000 with that house. So Taraji has some money. Now Robert does find out that she has the money, but Robert, he never really asked her for anything. Taraji was just kind of a dummy in the movie, especially in her younger years. He would suggest things to her, and then she would just do it out of, feeling sorry for him. He never told her to do anything. So at first, she ended up buying him a car. So when she bought him a nice car, she didn't hear from him for about 2 weeks, unless she called him, and then he was really short with her. But at that point, she was right in her gut. She felt like he might have been messing with another woman. So then she proceeds to drive over to his house, which he lives in this trailer, because he doesn't have anybody. So he lives in this raggedy trailer, and she finds him, messing with another woman. She could hear them in the trailer or whatever. So then she proceeds to drive her car into the trailer, and she knocks the trailer over, and then she takes, I don't know, she throws something at his car, bashes his car up, the car that she bought, and then it turns out that she hit the steering wheel so hard that she ended up in the hospital, had to get a hysterectomy, and also she had internal bleeding. So already by the time she was 21, she couldn't even have kids. Then he comes to the hospital, he comes to see her, and he basically means well. He didn't mean to hurt her or anything. That's just something that happened. But he comes to see her and says he's sorry, he loves only her, and he's never going to do it again. Which, from the outcome of the movie, he was telling the truth about that, because he never actually cheated on her again in the movie. Then just some other random problems started to come. The next problem was he ended up losing his scholarship. He was sad about that. So then Taraji, jumping in to save him, she goes, well, how much more do you owe? How many more classes do you have? And he said 2. Taraji ends up paying for it. He never told her to, but she went ahead and paid for it anyway. Then it gets to the point where he starts making promises to her about their future. So he takes this little fake I don't know, toy ring and proposes to her and says, don't worry, one day you're going to get the finest ring, and it's going to have diamonds here, and then this particular diamond, whatever. He was basically defining everything that they would have. The whole time he was in the movie, he was really defining his dream. Her sisters, they nosy as hell, of course. They start to warn her about all the red flags and all the reasons that, she shouldn't be with him for all the things that they're seeing him as. They told her if she walks down the aisle with him, they're not going to attend the wedding. And they didn't. And as the money got lower and lower, Taraji felt like he was giving her lesser and less affection. She started working 2 jobs while he stayed home and, worked on that dream all day, that battery that he'd been working on for years. It was like an invention that he created. He even damaged the house with the battery, and then Taraji had to come out of pocket with some of the money and pay $37,000 to get the house rewired or something like that. So from that point, after she had to pay $37,000, they was in the hole. They were in debt. Now, he graduated college. He went on 3 job interviews and couldn't get the job, and then Taraji found out, he was not getting hired because he still had a felony from the time that he was 15, so getting a job was going to be a problem. So now, because she needed money and he couldn't get a job, she went and took out a new mortgage on the house for him. And they stayed together about 20 years. So as time goes on, the movie starts to get really, really crazy. Now, what happens at this point is he gets in contact. It turns out that the girl that she caught him cheating with when they was in college, that she caught him in the trailer with, it turns out that this girl has been working at the company called Prescott. She started working at the company called Prescott, and she got an important position there. And that's the company that Robert had been contacting for years about his invention, his new battery or something like that. Then he ends up getting a call from the company saying, you can't contact any of our employees or come near the company or you'll be arrested. So basically, it's like they wrote him off as a psycho for being so persistent because he's been sending them letters for years and years. And then he finally gets in contact with one of the employees. So now, Taraji really wants him to get a job bad. Now her and her sisters found out the house is about to be foreclosed on. And the sisters and the brother-in-laws, they jump in and they try to help. But in this case, they require Robert to work to pay the money back. So they gave him a job in which he was doing really, really good. He was working hard and everything. And as you know, things always come in at the worst timing, of course. While Robert is working, he gets a call from Prescott, from that girl that he cheated with years ago. And she says she's got him a meeting with a very important client about his research and the battery and everything. So in between that, he has to make a delivery at that time that they requested the meeting. So it was kind of just bad timing. So he took a risk and went to the meeting. And, Taraji got into an argument about that because she found out he was going to the meeting. She thought that he was actually just cheating or something because he had to go home and, get the battery information and all that stuff. So he finally gets to the meeting, kind of angry while he's there because he just had an argument with his wife or whatever. And in the meeting, they offer him $800,000 for his invention. And that's pretty much it. And that wasn't enough for him. He knew that his invention was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He didn't take the deal because he felt like it was a bad deal. So he's going right back home, still going into a house that's about to be foreclosed, and no $800,000. They find out he turned down the $800,000, and Taraji wants a divorce. She doesn't believe him anyway. She doesn't even believe his story. So he leaves, and then 3 months later, Taraji lost the house. And after spending about, I would say, $1.4 million on the man she was married to, wasting all that money throughout the years, they finally got a divorce. They signed the divorce papers. And the guy, he was nice to her. He said he's always loved her. He never cheated on her again, whatever, which was true. But Taraji, she didn't want to accept it, but he did sign the divorce papers and just leave her alone. And the girl that he was cheating with at Prescott, she had no intentions of sleeping with him or anything like that. It's just that the people from Prescott, I guess they were trying to get in contact with him again. So they were reaching out to her, and she found out nobody could contact him. So when she finally contacted him, she was like, "Where are you?" And he said, he's in between homes right now. He doesn't have a place to stay. So she said, "I'm coming to get you." So he was staying with her just so that people could get in contact with him. And you could tell at that point she started to nourish him mentally because he was sad about the divorce, and she was saying that maybe the marriage is not meant to be. Maybe the destination that you're going to, I don't know, with the battery situation, the invention and all, maybe she's not meant to be a part of that. That's the things that she was telling him in a way that he should probably just move on. So it turns out Prescott offers him gives him a $75 million check. Now, he's already divorced from Taraji and everything, and they haven't seen each other in months, all of that. And this guy was nice enough to come by Taraji's job. She tried to dismiss him, didn't want to see him, and was like, you know, I'm not getting back with you. What do you want? What did you do? You borrowed some nice suit from somebody trying to impress me? Whatever, whatever. And she didn't know. He had got $75 million. He came to give her a $10 million check and some roses. And he gave her the keys to her mother's house. He got the house back. But at this point, she's pissed. She goes to her sisters and she basically tells them all about themselves. You know, how she shouldn't have listened to them and all kinds of stuff. And what's funny, now that his invention really took off, he starts living the exact life that he described to Taraji. He was living in the same high-rise building that he pointed out and said, you know, we're going to live in that someday and we're going to have this and have that. And it all came true. And that's what Taraji was pissed about. It all came true after they got divorced. Like a few months after they got divorced. So Taraji, she tries to come back and she's like, oh my God, this is the same exact building that you promised with that same view. And she was like, it all came true. So I guess she came over, you know, trying to seduce him. She came over, you know, looking really sexy, not knowing that that other woman was in the other room. They were getting ready to go out or something. And they were engaged. Now, Taraji wasn't happy with the outcome, despite that he gave her $10 million and her mother's house back. She felt like, you know, she should have half of everything because of all she went through and all that she invested. But the courts were saying, you know, this guy's the most generous that they've ever seen, because not only did she invest nearly $1.4 million, yes, but he came back and gave her $10 million, even though he didn't have to, because the divorce was final and the deal did not happen until months after they were divorced. So Taraji was just basically being greedy and being jealous of the woman because she was living the life that Taraji wanted to live. Melinda starts going crazy, and even her family starts to warn Robert that, you know, you need to get security at your wedding because she's crazy. They were getting married. Taraji's watching all the social media and everything. She's doing crazy stuff inside her house. And she even poured acid on the girl's wedding dress and ruined the wedding dress, because they said that in the courtroom as well. And so the yacht that they're on near the end of the movie, Taraji ends up in that yacht. Somehow she was able to get into the yacht, and she pointed a gun at the guy. She pointed a gun at Robert and told him to tell. She wanted Robert to make his new wife jump off the boat, his new pregnant wife, to jump off of the boat. And then when the crew started to see her, she made everybody jump off the boat, and she accidentally shoots Robert. So now Robert is wounded, laying on the floor. And still, even then, he still has sympathy for her. So then Robert made the wife drive away. I don't know if it was to get some help or something, and stop the yacht that they were on. So she got off into a little boat and drove away. Then Taraji, she proceeds to get an axe and begins to chop Robert up. Robert didn't die, but she wanted to chop him up. But when she chopped him, there was some metal things like the anchor or something, a chain that pulled her into the water, and Taraji ended up drowning. So this is a very, very crazy movie. It's a good movie. It has a real nice build up. Not one part of this movie was boring. It was definitely an excellent movie. I would encourage everybody to see it. I was basically texting the movie to myself the whole time, like just writing out a summary throughout the whole movie. That's why I was able to remember so much. But I really think this is a great movie. I think that they all deserve a reward for this one. This was a really good movie. I liked it better than Proud Mary. I think that this, shall I say, I think it's like the best movie Taraji has been in, or I would say this is the best work I've seen so far. This was a really, really good movie. So anybody who's watching this, I would say I give this movie a 5-star. You should definitely go see it. So that's my review for Acrimony. I really liked it, and thank you for watching. Bye.